What's up guys, Draco here. I'm going to talk about fire. Yeah, because I'm home alone, so I've been cooking. I mean, I'm not a big food person, so I've not been cooking that often, but I've been cooking like a meal a day. I don't like food, to be honest. Like, I would rather if I could just not eat and just be sustained. I also don't really get hungry. Like, I've gone like days without eating without getting hungry at all. It's not that like lack of food doesn't affect me. Like, I feel like tired and stuff, and I feel like it's because of like blood sugar levels lowering at times. But I just don't feel like hunger. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm very apathetic towards a lot of things, including like hunger. Or maybe just like, I don't know, that's not a thing you can be apathetic towards, but it is just, I don't really care about. I think I'm just good at ignoring my body, which is not a good thing to be good at, but I am good at just ignoring what my body wants. And so I get tired, but I'm just like, oh well. Like, it doesn't make me sleep, doesn't make me eat food. I'm just like, oh, whatever. Because, yeah, I don't sleep much, or eat much, or do much healthy stuff for my body. I don't know. But, yeah, that's why I've been thinking about fire, because, like, cooking. I think fire's incredible. I mean, I don't think that there's anyone who would dispute me on this. But the fact that we've made fire is, like, awesome. There's obviously a lot of negatives to fire. Forest fires, stuff burning down, burning of, like, the Great Fire of London, the Library of Alexandria. That was burnt down, right? I just know it was destroyed. I feel like it was burnt. I don't actually remember how it was burnt. I can't remember. I don't know. Because whilst I do classic-based stuff, I care a lot more about mythology than I do history. But I actually probably will double-check stuff like that at some point. But yeah, fire is awesome. I also think another thing is firefighters are like one of the few jobs where like there's no one who dislikes it. Or like, as in there's no one who's like, oh yeah, I hate firefighters, they're in the wrong. Everyone's pretty on board with firefighters. Whereas like the police, people will be like, oh, it's corrupt. I agree that they're sometimes corrupt. Often corrupt in fact. I don't think there's many people who are against teachers. Like, people acknowledge teachers have to exist. But yeah, there's a lot of jobs like accountants where it's like, oh, that's kind of unnecessary. Like, people like managers who are just like irrelevant a lot of the time. Stuff like, retail workers are often disliked by people. I feel like retail workers shouldn't be though. Retail is great. Honestly, I think I've not done any retail work, but I think I really should, because I think every person should do retail work for like at least a few weeks, and I think we would just appreciate people's jobs a lot more. I think that's what we should do. We should have a randomized job selection thing, and you just randomly get given a job, and you have to do that for like a year, and do that like when you're like 18, and it's like, but actually no, randomized job selection of all those minimum wage jobs, because you can't, if someone who's really rich gets selected like singer, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's what everyone experiences. That's the issue. A lot of people who hate retail workers are very entitled people. So if everyone had to do it for like a year, they'd go, oh, actually, it's not that bad. Like, I hate when people are just so stuck up and they're like, oh yeah, it's their job to do this, they should be fine with it. I'm like, just help them out, bro. Like, just be polite to this person. They're trying their best, and they're not getting paid enough to deal with it. So there's no, like, you don't get anything out of being mean to them. So there's no point on being mean to them. I don't know, very, like, I don't know, I just don't like people being mean. I don't, honestly, I feel like people saying I have empathy should not be a controversial thing for me to say. But somehow it is, to be like, oh, you should have empathy towards people. Oh, what has this world come to? So yeah. But yeah, I think fire is incredible. I gave the example of firefighters, and that's us coming together against fire, but that's when fire's gone too far. Everything can come too far. Everything is good and not in excess. What's the quote? Nothing in excess. Everything in moderation. One of them. Bad sayings. Anyway, I am a huge fan of fire because it looks cool. I feel like kids sometimes like you go to places and it's like, hey, does anyone want to light this? Like I've seen it at like church. It's like, oh, does any kid want to come up and light this candle? And then like no kid show up. And like, how are they just like not wanting to do this? When I was younger, I was like, it's fire. That's awesome. When I was, in fact, when I am currently my age, I still am like, wow, that's fire. That's awesome. But like, if you just get to play with, I feel like it's because it's something so like dangerous, but because we've learned to control it, it's really cool. Like, other animals are terrified of fire because they can't control it, and it makes sense to be terrified of fire when you can't control it. But like, the fact that we can just exist at all times, as opposed to like having to sleep at night because it's too dark. Obviously we have light bulbs now, but in the past we had fires. If we never had fires, I don't think we'd ever have made electricity. I'm not a scientist, maybe like someone would have made the discovery, but I think like due to how progression works, you kind of have to make fire first. That's just my like mental thought of it, but yeah. Mental thought of it as opposed to what my physical thought of it. I'm not very good at English. So yeah. Fire is great. Fire. I also, I don't know, just light and... There's so many things where it's like just a really simple thing. Like fire is a fairly common thing, but it's still really cool. Whereas a lot of other things, so it's like, oh, that's really, like I've mentioned glow sticks being cool, but that's not a thing that naturally happens. The fact fire is this thing that just naturally happens, and yet it's also so awesome. That's really hype. I am so bad at talking. Yeah. I do think that, like, it also, I feel like there's a lot of things which are just really underrated, that are just really common. Because obviously, like, we appreciate water because we drink it. But, like, does anyone, like, look at dirt and just go, dirt's awesome? Because I love dirt. Is great. It's what nourishes us and gives us all life. Without dirt, none of us would be here. And yet, no one appreciates dirt. Have I done one of these on dirt? Yeah, if not, then I probably should. Dirt is actually incredible. I also love ants, and ants often live in the dirt. I've definitely done one on ants. I can't remember when I did it, but I've definitely done one, because ants are, like, awesome. To quote, the Bible also agrees that ants are great. Proverbs 6:6 is, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. So therefore ants are wiser than humans. That's my conclusion for that verse, and that's definitely correct. Yeah, I love ants. There are also fire ants, and also ants can make a raft and go over water, so ants can control any element. Therefore, ants are going to take over the world. I love ants so much. They're just like, they're one of the few animals that, other than humans, like, actually, like, band together and, like, plan stuff together and stuff like that. And, like, they have wars, which are obviously bad, but it shows that they have, like, teamwork and communication. So, yeah. Anyway, this was Draco's random thoughts about fire, and every 5 seconds I got sidetracked from fire, but that's kind of how this channel goes. So, hope you have a good day. Don't burn anything to the ground. And yeah, appreciate the warmth of life, and of fire. Although you don't really need a fire, because you can just use, like, AC, or, not AC, a heater. But yeah, just appreciate the fact you can be warm. If you can. And just, yeah. Vibing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad at outros. I also haven't really had like a main line of thought this video, so I haven't really had an outro to like lead into. I often have a main line of thought that I lead into somehow. This time I really haven't, so yeah. But have a good one.